Princess Diana, often called the People's Princess, was one of the most beloved figures of the 20th century. Born Diana Frances Spencer on July 1, 1961, in Sandringham, Norfolk, England, her early life was marked by privilege, but also by instability and sadness. She was the fourth of 5 children born to John Spencer, Viscount Althorp, and Frances Shand Kydd. The Spencer family had deep ties to the British aristocracy and were close to the royal family, but Diana's childhood was far from the fairy tale it appeared to be on the surface. Her parents' turbulent marriage ended in divorce when she was just 7 years old, an experience that deeply affected her and left her longing for stability and love. Diana was a sensitive and shy child, known for her love of music, dance, and caring for others. She attended various boarding schools, but struggled academically and often felt out of place. Despite her challenges, Diana's compassionate and loving nature began to shine through, and it was clear from an early age that she had an innate desire to help those around her. She left school at 16 and spent a few years finding her way, working as a kindergarten assistant and nanny in London, living an ordinary life, one that would soon be turned upside down. In 1977, Diana met Charles, the Prince of Wales, who was then dating her older sister, Sarah. Diana was only 16 at the time, and although they didn't connect romantically then, her quiet charm and warmth caught his attention. It wasn't until a few years later that Charles took a more serious interest in her. They began dating, and Diana quickly became the subject of intense media attention. At just 19 years old, she was thrust into the spotlight as speculation mounted over her relationship with the future King of England. On February 24, 1981, their engagement was announced, and the world watched as Diana, a young woman from a noble but relatively private background, prepared to marry into the British royal family. Their wedding on July 29, 1981, was a global event, watched by over 750 million people worldwide. Dressed in a voluminous gown with a 25-foot train, Diana looked every bit the fairy tale princess. But beneath the surface, she was already grappling with doubts and insecurities. Despite the grandiosity of the occasion, Diana's heart was heavy with concerns about her relationship with Charles and her role in the royal family. Married life brought challenges that Diana was not prepared for. She quickly discovered that her husband's heart still belonged to his longtime companion, Camilla Parker Bowles. The revelation was devastating, leaving Diana feeling alone and betrayed. Struggling with the immense pressures of royal life and her complicated marriage, she experienced severe depression and developed an eating disorder. Despite these challenges, Diana channeled her pain into compassion, finding solace and purpose in charitable work. Diana became a mother in 1982 with the birth of Prince William, followed by Prince Harry in 1984. Her love for her children was profound, and she devoted herself to giving them as normal an upbringing as possible. Unlike previous royal generations, Diana insisted on being hands-on, often seen holding her sons close, taking them to school, and involving them in ordinary activities. Her approach to motherhood was groundbreaking for the royal family, and it endeared her even more to the public, who admired her natural warmth and devotion to her boys. As Diana grew more comfortable with her royal duties, she began using her platform to bring attention to causes close to her heart. Her compassion for the vulnerable, especially those ostracized by society, was unwavering. She became known for her work with AIDS patients, a cause that, at the time, was surrounded by fear and misinformation. In 1987, Diana made headlines when she shook hands with an AIDS patient without gloves, challenging the stigma surrounding the disease and sending a powerful message of acceptance. This moment was just one of many that showed her courage and compassion, qualities that made her beloved by millions. Diana's marriage continued to deteriorate, and by the late 1980s, she and Charles were leading separate lives. Their marital issues became public knowledge, with both admitting to extramarital affairs. Diana's highly publicized interview with the BBC's Martin Bashir in 1995 was a defining moment, as she candidly spoke about her struggles, famously saying, "There were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This interview shocked the world and solidified her position as a tragic yet resilient figure. The public sympathized deeply with her, viewing her as a woman trapped by duty and circumstance, but determined to find her own happiness. Following her official separation from Charles in 1992 and their divorce in 1996, Diana was stripped of her title of Her Royal Highness, though she remained the Princess of Wales and continued to be loved by the public. Now free from the constraints of royal life, she embraced her humanitarian work more passionately than ever. She became a prominent advocate for landmine victims, visiting Angola with the Halo Trust in 1997, where images of her walking through a minefield made headlines worldwide. Her advocacy work helped bring global attention to the devastating impact of landmines on civilians, leading to increased efforts for a worldwide ban. Diana's post-divorce life was also marked by her relationships. She dated British-Pakistani heart surgeon Hasnat Khan, whom she described as the love of her life, but the relationship ended due to the intense scrutiny they faced. Later, she was romantically linked with Dodi Fayed, the son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. In the summer of 1997, Diana and Dodi were often photographed together, and rumors swirled that they were planning to marry. The media frenzy around Diana reached new heights as the paparazzi followed her relentlessly. Tragically, Diana's life was cut short on August 31, 1997, when she and Dodi were involved in a fatal car crash in Paris. The world mourned as the news spread, and millions of people across the globe grieved the loss of a woman who had touched so many lives. Her funeral was watched by over 2.5 billion people, and the sight of her young sons, William and Harry, walking behind her coffin remains one of the most heartbreaking images of the 20th century. Diana's death was a wake-up call about the dangers of intrusive media and led to increased privacy protections for public figures. Diana's legacy endures in countless ways. Her compassion, strength, and vulnerability continue to inspire, and her sons, now grown, have carried forward her charitable spirit. Prince William and Prince Harry frequently honor their mother's memory, with Harry naming his daughter Lilibet Diana in tribute to his mother. Her influence can also be seen in the way the royal family has softened in recent years, adopting a more modern, approachable image. Diana was one of the first royals to show that true strength lies in empathy and authenticity, forever changing the monarchy's relationship with the public. Despite no longer being here, Diana's wealth and legacy remain. At the time of her passing, she was reportedly worth around $31.5 million, much of which was inherited by her sons. Her timeless style, often characterized by her elegant yet relatable fashion sense, has left an indelible mark on the world of fashion, inspiring trends for decades. From her iconic wedding dress with its 25-foot train to her bold revenge dress, Diana's choices were always deeply symbolic, reflecting her emotions and her journey. Diana was a woman of contrasts, both vulnerable and strong, loving yet fiercely independent. Her love for luxury was evident in her affinity for designer clothes and accessories, yet she always balanced it with humility and a dedication to her charitable causes. She drove modest cars, often wore simple outfits during her charity work, and had an approachable nature that made everyone feel valued in her presence. Fun facts about Diana reveal her playful, adventurous side. She loved dancing, adored the Phantom of the Opera, and enjoyed rollerblading in Kensington Palace, embodying a mix of grace and relatability that set her apart. Princess Diana's life was one of beauty, heartbreak, and courage. She redefined what it meant to be a princess, showing that kindness and empathy are more powerful than titles and tradition. Through her compassion, she became a symbol of hope and love, touching lives in ways that few have. Her story is a reminder that even those in the brightest spotlight can feel pain, and that true royalty is found not in privilege, but in the strength to rise above challenges and live with an open heart.